I think you need to push OK. OK. All right, hello and welcome into the broadcast. An hour and 10 minutes is the time it took from us to get to Cienega High School, all the way down here to Nogales High School in Nogales, Arizona, where we have this visiting Cienega Bobcats 7-1 here to play the Nogales Apaches 2-6 on the season. I'm Jacob Greenberg, joined alongside Jason Miller.
It was a nice drive.
It was.
It was a little sleepy, I have to say, but I'm thankful we got here safely. So we hit the subway coming into town over on Mariposa, and we saw Mrs. Nugent, Michelle Nugent, and her daughter, and I think maybe her mother as well. So it was just interesting to interact with them there in passing. What are the odds or chances that we'd be at that Subway sandwich shop at the same time? Captains there out on the field. It looks like for Nogales, it's number 34, Jesus Torres Jr., number 50, Joel Mendivil, number 60, Brandon Rojas, and number 74, Jesus Ochoa. And then captains for the Cats from Cienega High School. Jacob, do you see the captains out there for Cienega High School?
Diego Rivas, Sergio Torres, Luis Morales. And I think that was it, 3 of them?
Yes, and first of all, I love the atmosphere here in Nogales. I love the way that this stadium and the field is set up. It's nestled inside of hills. So we are surrounded here by hills, one of the main streets coming into town here. So there's a lot of traffic. The scoreboard is beautiful. It's from the University of Arizona. The referees should be mic'd up to the scoreboard, so I'm hoping that that's going to be happening tonight as well. And it's damp. It's cooler down here in Nogales. I would say it's about 10 degrees cooler than what we're accustomed to in Vail. So it's a damp, it feels like football weather. It's the fall. Here we are on the 19th of October, and with the Bobcats of Cienega rounding into form, looking
5 turnovers defensively,
which is impressive by itself, right? So we were expecting a shootout last week, and that was a huge win for Cienega over Marana, a team that was highly touted coming into the year. The Bobcats are peaking at the right time. They are cresting as they head toward the playoffs here. Tonight, Nogales. Next week, Ironwood Ridge at home, and then playoffs.
Nogales Apaches are on a 5-game losing streak. Last week, they lost to the Buena Colts 51-7.
Well, this is interesting. We have some groundskeeping happening at around the 5-yard line on the opposite right corner, so the top right of your screen, and they're dropping some dirt there to fill in some holes. Not an encouraging sign if you're a player, but I do like to see the grass field here, right? So the Cats in week 1 at Choya High School playing on grass, and now the groundskeeper has taken off, having done his maintenance there at the 5-yard line and the 10. Something to watch out for potentially. Cats ready to return. Looks like it's Diego Ruby and Terrell Hayward. So similar in terms of skills and abilities. Both big play weapons for the Bobcats. And Pat Nugent has got this team primed and ready to go tonight.
There's number 2, Mate Domini, on to kick for the Apaches. And here we go. Homecoming for the Nogales Apaches. Low kick there. Diego Ruby will receive. And they stop him up around the 20-yard line.
Christian Hernandez, number 30, the linebacker on the tackle for Nogales. Diego, a little bit patient maybe on that return. That's one of his strong suits. He's patient running through traffic, but on a kickoff return, I think you want to get a full head of steam going for you. Hernandez, one of the seniors here, and it's homecoming tonight for Nogales. So they were honoring some players from the past here. Once an Apache, always an Apache. We heard that announced a couple of times in the pregame ceremony.
Luis Morales, the quarterback, will hand it off. And that is to Gio Owens.
Gio, big-time weapon, and watching him last week break off a long touchdown run, to me, he's the X factor on this offense. 8.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Cienega
in all white copper helmets. Nogales Apaches maroon and yellow, kind of ASU look. Screen throw to Terrell Hayward. First down and more.
There he goes.
Terrell Hayward.
Off to the races. Nice tackle in the backfield. A touchdown-saving tackle by Gennaro Parra, the junior. Gained a 53 on the catch and run by Terrell Hayward.
He shedded that first tackler so easy then.
Yes. And patient as well, right? So the blocking downfield was excellent as well. Very well executed play.
Now they're inside the red zone at the 17-yard line. Morales will keep on this one. Gets a few yards there.
Number 44, Alfredo Altamirano, the senior inside linebacker on the tackle. Cats in the red zone. They're in that Pyramid Federal Credit Union red zone already.
Just a few plays in. Second and 4 from the 10. And a flag on the play.
There's some movement. It's on the right side of the line. And it's a delay of game.
Was that flag pink?
Yes, indeed. The referees even bedazzled with some pink. They have pink wristbands down there. October, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Second and 9.
Pass broken up there by number 9. That is Hilario Ortiz, the cornerback. Pass intended for Terrell Hayward there.
Nice coverage. And Hilario, if he had been, he was basically just going to deflect that ball down, but he had a chance to intercept that football. And if he had intercepted it, he may have been off to the races 85 yards for a touchdown going the other way. Nice defensive play there.
So that will bring up 3rd and 9. Rolling left is Morales. Throws here to Terrell Hayward, and he's going to be short of the first down. Flag thrown on the play.
So a hold going against the Bobcats. That was Brandon Rojas on the tackle. One of the captains here tonight, a senior. 6 foot 245 for the Apaches. You referenced Arizona State. They do have ASU uniforms, very reminiscent of the Sun Devils. Did ASU win or lose last night against Stanford?
They lost 20-13.
All right, that makes me feel good. It's always good when ASU loses. Stanford's 4-2 now, right?
I believe.
Maybe 5-2.
So now it's 3rd and 20. Morales feeling pressure and just dumps it down the middle.
Brandon Rojas again on the pressure. Well, Luis Morales as a passer has been sublime this season. 62% completion percentage. A 133.7 quarterback rating, 942 yards, 14 touchdowns, the 1 interception. Last week, 10 for 11 throwing the football against Marana. His best performance of the season in one of the biggest games of the year. We've got a timeout here taken by Cienega. So an early timeout with 9:24 on the clock in the first quarter. A scoreless opening quarter here. Thoughts or observations here on the first couple of minutes of play?
Well, I think Nogales is doing a good job defensively. Well, Cienega does have a few flags. That's bringing them back. But they're in a good spot right now.
I wonder, too, it took us about an hour and 15 minutes to drive down from Vail to here to Nogales. I wonder if there's a little bit of sleepiness on these Cats on that bus ride. You always wonder about a team when they hit the road. And it is slightly subdued, the atmosphere here. Still a nice contingent of Bobcat fans making the trek across the way. The band's not making the trip, but I wonder if not having the band deflates Cienega a little bit here. It's almost like a boxing match, Jacob. You have a couple of boxers in the center of the ring. Not a lot of big shots taken to this point. They're kind of feeling each other out, a little bit of jabbing, a little bit of moving, just kind of seeing what's going on.
I think traveling is one of the, not traveling is one of the advantages of home field advantage.
And the Cats going for it on 4th down. 4th and 30.
Bold statement here by Pat Nugent. 30 to go to get a first down. Morales to throw. It is complete to Diego Ruby, but it is going to be short.
So a gain of about 22 on the reception. And in essence, it's basically a punt. There is a penalty marker down in the Bobcat backfield. I have to say, the referee's signaling is a little curious. For holding, you typically want to grab your right hand with your left wrist and kind of pull down, or you're holding your right hand with your left hand, the right wrist, and you're holding your hand out. So illegal use of hands or a holding. We've seen holding where the referee's almost crossing himself. But the indication here is against Nogales and the Cats. If they went for it on 4th and 30, then why wouldn't they go for it on 4th and 17? Well, it's too bad. I was really looking forward to the referees being mic'd up here tonight, because I've been here before when they have been microphoned and linked into that beautiful electronic scoreboard, but that's not the case here tonight. It would certainly be nice to hear some clarification from the referees rather than some unclear signaling and gesticulating down on the field.
And I also heard they used to have an Apache on horseback that would come out before the game and run onto the field, and I was told that they stopped doing that starting this season. So maybe a few changes here to Nogales High School football. And
that was one of the highlights for me coming down here to Nogales, and we're looking across the way at the large N on that hilltop, and I have seen that rider on horseback making the trek down that dirt path and onto the field with a spear in one hand, war paint across his face, and no shirt. So maybe it's a little bit too risque in these politically correct times that we live in the 21st century. I don't know.
He used to start way up there?
Yeah, yes. And ride down from the top of the hill, down the dirt, and then eventually meander his way around the track and onto the field on horseback.
Be 1st and 10 on the 18-yard line. Gio Owens here on the run, going left side. He has a first down on the run.
Well, we saw some nice moves there. It was a quick little juke step there to elude the would-be tackler, a player who's been active early here tonight, Brandon Rojas. Then he found the corner, and he almost hopped over another player to get that first down, 12 yards on the play for Gio. Hayward near side is a target to look for.
And it's going to go to Caleb Beard running right side, trying to get the edge, and does. Touchdown, Cienega. Caleb Beard, 8-yard touchdown run.
Caleb Beard has been fantastic this year as a ball carrier. a workmanlike effort, a player that Pat Nugent can trust in big games and situations. He's carried the football well all season long, 7.5 yards a carry. That's touchdown number 5 for the senior, number 6, Caleb Beard. Good job of blocking down the field there by Gio Owens. Kind of got in the way of the defender, and then Caleb just found the corner and went his way into the end zone.
Now it's Ezra Figueroa, the machine, on for the extra point. And it is good. The Cats lead 7-0.
Automatica. He is automatic on extra points. He's terrific on field goals. And I've mentioned it before, he is accelerated as well, or excelled with the kickoffs. So we've seen him in all facets of the game. A true weapon for a coach. And I would like to give Jeff Bull now some of the credit, and certainly Brett Hawley, the great special teams coach as well, for his tutelage of these kickers. I talked to Ezra earlier that came in and popped in. He just told me one thing, like where to strike the football. You want to strike the football low on the kickoffs to get that loft and that power behind it to really drive it through. The best comparison I could use would be, this one's going out to Mike Fike, and Tim Nichols, would be driving a golf ball. You want to drive the ball low to get loft and distance on it.
Kickoff goes into the end zone. The Apaches will start out their offense at the 20-yard line.
Nice drive there from Ezra Figueroa right down the fairway. Very smoothly done.
So it's Coach Jake Teachea for the Nogales Apaches. He's in his second year as head coach after taking over from Kevin Kuhn. He went 3-7 last year and is 2-6 this year.
Well, I can tell you, Jacob, the football that is the focus here at Nogales is football, soccer. They have an excellent soccer team. They have an excellent basketball team on the boys' side. So those are two sports that this school really, truly excels in.
Handoff there will go Felix at quarterback.
Yeah, and Felix on the season, a quarterback rating of 65. So if you compare him to Luis Morales Jr., who's got a 133.7 QBR, his numbers pale in comparison, but an efficient passer, 40%, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's going to try to eliminate making big mistakes here, and Nogales is going to try to run some balance on offense, running and throwing the football.
Loss of 1 on the previous play. This one goes to a handoff. Breaks 1 tackle there to get him some extra yards. It is Paul Gracia.
And Gracia, 4 yards per carry, 4 yards per carry average, 61 carries for 246 yards. He is the leading ball carrier for this Apache attack.
They need 3 on third down here. 2 receivers to each side of Felix, and that is going to be a flag. It's a false start on the Apaches. Will back them up for third down. Make it 3rd and 8.
Nogales does have some size on that offensive line. Hernan Ortiz, number 58, 6', 275. We'll spotlight some of those other linemen here in a moment.
Feeling pressure here is Felix. Gets the pass off, and it is complete. Short of the first down. Complete to number 2.
Mate Domini. That was a great catch by him, adjusting on the fly, and Hayward was there in coverage. So to come up with that ball was very impressive there from the junior.
I think that might be maybe Richard Hanlon.
Oh, that could be. So they've got 2 players listed here on the roster. So Hanlon, number 2, and Mate Domini, number 2. So that probably was Richard Hanlon. Richard Hanlon the 4th on the catch. Hayward lurking at the 40, very dangerous as a returner.
Punt here is going to roll. Hayward's going to let it roll. It was 54, Isaac Gonzalez on the punt.
41 yards on the punt by Isaac Gonzalez. Gonzalez is a senior. I thought for a moment there that Terrell Hayward, he kind of like tries to lull the other return team to sleep a little bit. And we've often seen him, as you've mentioned, Jacob, catch that ball and then take off to run. He kind of flinched like he was going to do that, but decided, I think wisely, to let that ball roll past him.
Cats will start their second drive on offense at the 33-yard line. 3 receivers to Morales' left. Handoff there to Caleb Beard. Good stop there by the Apaches.
Excellent tackle by Sergio Jimenez. The senior, 5'11", 190. Just looked at the baseball score. The Brewers up 5-2 over the Dodgers. The Brewers put 4 runs on the board in the bottom of the first inning, added 1 to the second to chase Hyunjin Ryu. Game 6 in the NLCS.
Screen pass to Hayward. A few yards there.
Hilario Ortiz, the senior, number 9 on the tackle. But it does feel like there's a noticeable lack of energy here. Are you feeling that vibe as well?
I do.
It's kind of strange. And for us, it feels kind of weird. Almost if we, I don't know, it felt like a much longer trek than what it actually is. Just an hour and 10-minute drive. But it feels strange to be here.
Pass here to Ethan White. And incomplete.
A little post, near hash, in and out of the hands of Ethan White.
So we'll bring on Matthias Slattery to punt.
Looks like it'll be 34 yards on the punt there from Matthias Slattery, the junior, number 62. And you mentioned this earlier, Jacob. This is an important thing to note. Thomas Webb, number 4, the senior, since he was ejected last week, wrongfully, I will add in my opinion, against Marana, he was ejected early in the first quarter, lunging for the end zone. There was a defensive player from the Tigers who was grinding his face mask into the right calf of Thomas Webb, and Webb tried to kick the player off of him because it hurt, and he was ejected. So Webb, a leader in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, a Link Crew leader, a senior who leads by example, very talented and skilled player. Unfortunately, since he was ejected, he must sit out tonight's game as well, so that explains why Matt Slattery is out there punting for the Bobcats.
And the word on the street is even the Marana players were trying to tell the officials that, you know, don't do anything to him. He didn't do anything.
Oh, this is a big run here. Flag down in the backfield. Ivan Romero off to the races.
And it is a touchdown.
So 73 yards if it stands. And the holding brings it back. Boy, great wheels there from Romero. What a shame for the Apaches. That really got this crowd energized.
Wow.
Romero coming in, just 5 carries for 34 yards, 6.8 yards per carry. He is more of a primary kick returner for this Apaches team, but you can see the speed there on that run. Every player in white chasing after him.
And that one's got to hurt down there.
No, I bet the coaches from Cienega are losing their minds right now. A flag down here late, and it's going to be one of the linemen from Nogales who is chirping to the referee, and maybe the coach actually from the sideline here. You see the referee kind of pointing toward this line, and that should be a 15-yard. I know officiating is a hard job, and Jacob, I know you want to be a basketball referee, so you know what it's like to have parents and players arguing with you or giving you a hard time. But sometimes referees try to be cats here stacking the box. Low snap.
Hit the line. Bring up second and long, 33 yards. Nogales has a lot of cheerleaders.
Yes, I noticed that earlier. They have a full squad.
Second and 33 here. Incomplete. Miscommunication there between the quarterback and Richard Hanlon.
Yeah, and Oscar Felix in a bit of duress there, feeling some of the heat on the pass rush. Sergio Torres, the senior 13 back there in coverage in the flats. But I bet the coaches are upset right now for Cienega. I think they're probably going to be upset with the lack of energy here.
Third and 33, over the head of Hanlon. Pass incomplete.
There on Oscar Felix. So a good chance here to return for Terrell Hayward standing at the Apache 45-yard line.
Terrell Hayward's going to return this one. And good coverage there on the punt. They're there, right there to take down Terrell Hayward. They'll be right at the 50-yard line.
That was a beautiful punt from Isaac Gonzalez. Excellent hand.
Running left.
He's a senior, 6'3", 265, showing some nice lateral movement there from the defensive line to chase the speedster Terrell Hayward. It's like a bear chasing a fox.
Handoff here goes to Gio Owens, left side.
Seven yards on the gain. You see Gio, he's so fast, so moving in traffic, it almost looks like he's on a surfboard working his way through the defenders there on the ground. And then spinning, always spinning or moving forward.
Yep, I think it's a false start on Terrell Hayward.
And I want to take a quick moment here to acknowledge and recognize a couple of the other programs here in the fall that are doing so well. Cross country under Josh Farr and Scotty Burnham, they have built that program into a powerhouse in Vail. And they had a great meet on Wednesday afternoon. Runners finishing very strongly on the girls and the boys side. And then also the swim program under Kim Farr and Laura Bittler. They have built that program up as well. Very impressive on Wednesday, or yesterday at the Clements Center. Kudos to both those coaches and those programs.
Pass there too long for Terrell Hayward. Girls volleyball?
Yes, thank you. Girls volleyball was Wednesday night. It was senior night for them. So Coach Heather Mott, the great coach of the girls and the boys programs, that program now 21-9 in the year, 7-1 in the section. Monday they go to Marana. Tuesday they have Ironwood Ridge at Ironwood Ridge. Both matches on the road. Both of those matches will play largely in forecasting and finalizing the 5A state playoffs. So the girls, 6 seniors, very impressive in volleyball on Wednesday night.
Morales here, pass to Gio Owens out of the backfield. And had some room there until he met an Apache. I heard girls golf has been having some success.
Yeah, I'm remiss here from acknowledging those girls as well. Marley Mancada is the freshman, and she is sublime as a golfer. Super talented. She has qualified for the state playoffs. I think on Monday and Tuesday she'll be playing, I think it's at the Omni Tucson National, I think. Very impressive golfer under Chuck Stepani, the first-year golf coach for the girls. So good at prompting, Jacob. Gio, that's his second catch of the year. He had one catch prior to this game for 53 yards and a touchdown. That was in week 1 against Choya. He just made it look like practice, like Allen Iverson. It was practice, just an easy catch and run for him.
Run here by Kayla Beard.
Gerson Galeano, 6'1", big defensive tackle. You see some massive size here for Nogales, so they have some pieces that they can build around. We've seen a nice punt. We saw what would have been an 80-plus yard touchdown run from Ivan Romero, their senior running back. So they've done some good things. We've seen them in nice pass coverage as well, and also applying some heat on Luis Morales Jr. So the Apaches have dazzled in certain areas here. They look formidable tonight, and they're certainly, I know they're up for the challenge.
And that is the end of the first quarter. Cats lead 7-0 on a 7-yard touchdown run from Caleb Beard.
I thought that was my alarm clock. The tone there, it's not the typical, is it a buzzer or is it a horn that we typically hear at the end of quarters?
I think that's a horn. Let's go over here the Nogales Apache schedule. Their first game against Troy, they won 14-0. Then lost to Desert View 21-13. Then their second win on the 7th of September. They beat Rio Rico 45-0. Then from there, it's all losses. They're on a 5-game losing streak. Lost to Walden Grove 49-0. Lost to Empire 18-37. And then 3 road games. Ironwood Ridge, they lost 51-7. Sunnyside, they lost 30-5. Buena last week in Sierra Vista, they lost 51-7. And they have Cienega tonight and Miranda next week here in Nogales.
Difficult schedule for them. If you look at these teams that they're playing against, right, in particular Ironwood Ridge, Sunnyside, Buena, who's having a resurgent season, Cienega we know is dominant, and Miranda also a solid season. It's a very difficult schedule for these Apaches.
Cats will switch directions as we start the second quarter. Caleb Beard there on the run. You think their schedule's like this because of where they're located? Three road games, 2 home games?
I do think so. And Rio Rico and Walden Grove are both down in Saurita, so those are closer games for them.
Yep.
Alfredo Altamirano on the tackle, number 44 for Nogales. I also want to acknowledge very quickly from that cross-country meet, it was nice hanging out with Dr. Robin Rathman and Jason Thomas. I enjoyed my conversations with both of those excellent science teachers on Wednesday.
Gio Owens needs 3 yards here on 3rd and 3. Will get it and more. Good run there by Gio Owens.
And I like at the end because he got popped, and Richard Hanlon, the 4th, applying the hit right where Gio was holding the football.
And he is hurt, so Kyle Bowen will make his run onto the field to go see him.
And he quickly sprinted out there. Now this is a discouraging sign. Gio Owens earlier this season had the bruised rib, and we're having a tough time seeing him because our view is obstructed by the training staff, Kyle Bowen there, and also some of the Apaches players. And it looks like he's kind of like working on the left ankle of Gio. So on one hand, it's encouraging that it's not the rib area, but it's certainly discouraging when we're talking about ankle injuries as he gets helped up here from Bowen. A slight hobble there as he walks off, but doesn't appear to be in excruciating pain, so that's an encouraging sign. Look, Jacob, I think that Gio Owens is a very pivotal piece here to the puzzle for the Bobcats. He is the fastest running back in their fleet of running backs. He is their home run breakaway back. They need Gio Owens. They need him in the playoffs. They don't need him tonight necessarily. They don't need him next week, I don't think, against Ironwood Ridge. But they need him in the playoffs. The most difficult games, Gio is going to have to play a role if this Cats team is going to make their dream come true this season.
So Gio Owens got them the first down there on the run. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 23.
Uncharacteristic. Luis has not found his rhythm here tonight. Typically so precise with his passing and very comfortable in the pocket, and he had time on that throw. It appeared as if he just rushed it a little bit. I'm trying to find Diego Ruby.
Ruby, Hayward, White is receivers. Hayward goes in motion. Morales will keep going up the middle. And an injured Apache there down on the field.
Looks like it's number 70, Gerson Galliano. And I like that play call from Pat Nugent. So Pat Nugent, primarily the play caller for the Cats on the sideline. He's got Todd Welch and Zach Ortiz that he bounces ideas off of. Welch up top on the press box is able to see kind of the whole chessboard and where all the pieces are down there on the field. But I like that call. Might get Luis in a little bit of a rhythm here throwing the football.
Hayward goes in motion, comes back. He's going to take this one. 3rd and 5. It's going to be short. So far, I think the Nogales Apaches have done good defensively, closing holes.
Yes.
On the runners.
I concur. And it was a dash, a skip, and a hop from Hayward, bringing him very close to that first down marker. It's going to be 4th and about less than a yard. It's a big 4th down play for Nogales in particular.
They need 1 yard here. Caleb Beard will get it. Usually that'd be Thomas Webb Jr. to get them that 1 yard there.
Correct. He would be Mr. Bulldozer plowing his way through the center of the line. But Caleb, so trustworthy. He has earned Nugent's trust, running the football in the interior, and more importantly, with all those carries he's had on the season, now over 50 for the year, he has not dropped the football or fumbled the ball away. Critically important to possess the football as a running back.
Hand off here to Beard. Couple there on the play.
Yeah, running right side. Darian Torres at right tackle. Rodobert Quintero at right guard. Daniel Hernandez at center. The whole offensive line. Tyree McKinney at left guard and Andrew Husfeld at left tackle. That line has been super solid all season long. Well coached by Chuck McCollum.
Morales, plenty of time. Didn't see where the throw went there, but it isn't complete.
Yeah, he was targeting Terrell Hayward on the right side. He also had Diego Ruby, who appeared to have been open in the deep right corner of the end zone. And a couple of pump fakes there from Luis, which have really been effective in freezing defensive backs. And I think if he had seen Diego, he could have taken a chance there in the corner.
You get a nice pump fake last week against Marana that pulled the defender off Terrell Hayward and then went for a 73-yard touchdown.
That was Trenton Bourget at cornerback near side.
And the pass is complete for a touchdown.
It was a beautiful crossing route. I don't see who Hayward crossed with, but it was a 7-yard touchdown strike. And it may have been a double move there from Hayward, coming in and then zagging out to the opposite side. But I think there was a cross route there, a lot of traffic, and whoever was shadowing or covering Hayward got lost in the shuffle.
Point is good. 8:07 to go in the second. Cats extend the lead to 14-0.
Well, 7-yard touchdown throw from Luis Morales, the senior, to his fellow senior, Terrell Hayward, the Tehe kid. 7 yards on the touchdown for the great Terrell Hayward. Concepts don't get steamed, call steamy. Well, I can tell you, having read The Hobbit as a young lad, it made an impression on me, and it feels a little bit like Mirkwood Forest. In The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, the great fantasy writer, the dwarves and Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit, go into Mirkwood Forest, and there is a sleepiness that descends upon all of the players, and the well, not the athletes, but the characters in that novel. And I feel a little bit like the trek down here and the atmosphere, the dampness that's in the air. It feels a little bit like I would imagine Mirkwood Forest would be. Certainly not as threatening. There are no giant spiders here. Or wood elves, for that matter.
This one's going to be returnable. And past the 25 to the 26.
Ivan Romero on the return, the primary kickoff returner for Nogales. Does a nice job there bringing it across the 25-yard line. 14-0 Cienega with 7:59 of the clock here in the second quarter.
Oscar Felix gives the handoff. This is a good run here. First down run there by number 7, Paul Gracia.
And Josiah Ware, who's at right cornerback here for the Cats. The Cats will rotate different corners in. Josiah, 81, who has had an excellent season defensively for Brett Darling and that defense for the Bobcats.
Also see Elijah Mika, who's not usually out there. This run's going to be stopped right there. It's DiMaggio Struve on the stop.
DiMaggio has been nice at right end. A good-sized kid at 6'1", long arms, long wingspan. Makes it difficult for quarterbacks to find passing lanes. He obstructs their view and sometimes deflects passes, but also a good stalwart run defender, as we saw on that play.
7 minutes to go in the second. 2nd and 8. Low snap here for Felix. Gracia will pick it up. And that's going to be a loss of yards there. Cat's right there to get that low snap.
Yep, DiMaggio again right there. And also number 74, Hunter Schlegel, the big sophomore. Younger brother of Ty Schlegel, who was an excellent defensive end for the Bobcats. And also the son of Jeff Schlegel, who's one of the staff on that large coaching staff that Cienega has.
Felix, feeling pressure, has to run right. Pass too long for Sebastian Armenta, the tight end.
Armenta did a good job there. Maybe he leapt slightly early, but he had to elevate to try to catch that football, slightly overthrown. Armenta as 6'3", 220, a good-sized wide receiver. If he continues to run on that pattern, maybe he has a closer chance at catching the football. But still a tough one for him to try to come up with.
Gonzalez to punt to Hayward. This one's going to be returnable.
Oh, beautiful move.
And he'll be stopped over there at the right side.
Look at that, a 12-yard return from Hayward. So that alone, not that impressive, but the move to catch the football with the gunner chasing him down, to catch and then like a matador just pivoting his body and then moving forward past that would-be tackler. That's Terrell Hayward. It's so many adjectives that you could use to describe him. Agile, fleet of foot, clever, gritty, tough, an excellent receiver, scrappy, just an excellent player all the way around, and certainly talented. Well, that's an early flag here. So I think we have a sideline warning going against Cienega. Or actually, maybe it's against Nogales, the sideline warning here from the head linesman. So indeed against Nogales. Looks like Tony Brown's out here at wide receiver near side for the Cats.
Yep. Handoff to Terrell Hayward. Right side has room. And gets pushed out. It's going to be a first down.
A lot of fans just making it here. It's almost as if a bus had pulled up. And we have about 100 fans that have just arrived here at the game with 5:47 on the clock. Students. Right, so a little bit on student time here at 7:47 on a Friday night.
First and 10, the handoff here. Five on the run, Hayward.
Again, the patience of Terrell Hayward, so averaging 7.9 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, just 33 carries on the season. But the little hesitation, going to the left side, seeing there's nothing there, and then cutting it back to the right, 5-yard pickup. Just textbook running the football. Game 2 of the season?
Yep, against the Houston Rockets. First home game for LeBron.
Okay, their first home game, so that's interesting. And I know that Houston, they lost Trevor Ariza. Did Ariza go to the Phoenix Suns?
Yep, he had a great first game for the Suns.
He's a nice wing, very athletic. I liked him. I think he played at UCLA. I liked him as a player back in the day for the Bruins. Very athletic, talented player. I think that's a big loss for Houston. And I think it's another loss where you're trying to add a player and you're even losing more when you add Carmelo Anthony. And I know what Carmelo did with the New York Knicks, which was not much. An albatross out on the floor, an albatross contractually. A quagmire, the ball goes to him and everything stops. I don't see how he blends in with the Rockets at all.
Hayward here on the run. Breaks a few tackles. Shifty.
Well, he's like the Silver Surfer out there. Ba-boom, 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 just kind of skipping left and right, almost as if he's on skis or a snowboard going down slope. That speed, that momentum, and shifty is a great adjective to use to describe the way that he runs the football.
Very hard to defend.
Great vision. I would love to see him play soccer. I know he scored 6 goals 2 years ago as a sophomore in the JV team. Always wanted to see him out there on the pitch.
Pass here is complete to Terrell Hayward, left side of the end zone. Touchdown, Cats.
It was too easy. It looked like a slight move to the inside and then again going to the corner. So a slight post corner. And sometimes, Jacob, I have to say when I watch these replays on our Bobcat TV YouTube channel, what I'm describing in real time is not exactly on the same page with what actually happened on the field. But a beautifully lofted pass there from Luis Morales, and it was like practice for Hayward on that one.
Figaro's extra point is good. That makes it 21-0, 4:27 to go in the half. It's Terrell Hayward's second touchdown. Last week, Terrell Hayward had a bunch of awards. He earned the Ed Dougherty Weekly Award.
Oh.
And then I think it's like 6 players in Arizona in all of Arizona get that a week. And then they have a lunch at the end of the season with all those football players. So it's a room full of good football players eating lunch. And he also won the APS Digital Print Player of the Week. That's a Southern Arizona award. And he also was named the Arizona Cardinals Player of the Week and the Wells Fargo Player of the Week. Great week last week for Terrell Hayward. 265 total yards, an interception, 148 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns.
Jacob, if your career as a referee in basketball doesn't pan out, you can always go into research. In any aspect, the research that you come up with is impressive. 13 touchdowns on the season now for the great Terrell Hayward. Touchdown, a 21-yard touchdown loft from Luis Morales Jr. to Terrell Hayward, brought to you by Steamy Concepts, the official touchdown sponsor of Bobcat football.
Kickoff there into the end zone. Apaches will start out their drive at the 20.
Random question. How is your fantasy football team doing?
Good. 3-1.
Oh, that's good.
I started a week late.
Oh, I was going to say, that feels a little bit off, but
yeah.
Okay. So you're able to join a league in progress?
Yeah. No, you can start like...
Oh, at any point in time?
Yeah, the people that joined were late too.
Okay, gotcha. So you guys have started in like week 2.
But yeah, I'm more into fantasy basketball.
Oh, so fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh, did you draft? Are you in season for that?
Yep.
How many teams in the league?
10. I had the first pick, and everyone's saying Giannis, but I went out and got Anthony Davis.
Oh, the Brow.
Yeah.
The Pelican. I like that. He's a double-double machine and probably fills up the stat sheet with assists and some block shots as well.
Another low snap there to Felix. Screen pass there to Hanlon. It's going to be stopped. Dylan Silva there on the stop. And a gang of Bobcat tacklers.
Did Davis play at Kentucky?
Yes.
Now that makes sense. if you're not sure, in the NFL where a player played collegiately, you can guess Alabama or Auburn or Clemson or LSU or one of the SEC teams. And then for basketball, if you're not sure where a lottery pick came from, taking a stab at Kentucky or Duke is always a pretty safe guess, or UNC at Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
2nd and 15 for the Apaches.
Picked.
Throw here is picked off by Diego Ruby.
Pick 6.
Yep.
Oh, he just trots into the end zone there very easily. It'll be a 19-yard interception return for a touchdown. He was just lurking there. Just had to catch the football, and he had clear, easy sailing. Go, Diego, go. Excellent season for the senior number 2. A perfect complement to Terrell Hayward in so many ways.
Extra point is good. They'll make it 28-0 with 3:39 to go. That was 2 touchdowns in 40 seconds.
Pow. A double whammy. That's your pick number 20? The last pick of round 2?
Yeah.
Who'd you take in round 2?
I can't remember. I think it was Victor Oladipo, maybe.
Who does he play for?
The Pacers. He had a spectacular season last year. He was traded for Paul George from the trade from OKC to Indiana.
Okay. Touchback. Tell me who else you've got on your team. Just give me a rundown.
I don't remember all of them, but I know I got Al Horford, Victor Oladipo, Anthony Davis, Ben Simmons.
Oh, Sixers. He's nice. Yep. He's a very nice player.
I had a 3-point shooter. Oh, Darren Collison of the Pacers. Led, I think, at the highest percentage of 3-point shooting last year.
So do you, I would imagine that you get points for threes.
Yep.
Is it similar to kind of like touchdowns in fantasy football?
Yeah.
Less points, but it's kind of a similar concept?
Yep.
Oh, nice tackle. Almost. Doubling back here. And Diego Rivas, who was there initially, I think, scampered his way across the field to get back in and make that tackle. It was a good idea. Barry Sanders, of course, always comes to mind as the classic player who is able to double back and go all the way around the other side. Ivan Romero there, a good attempt. You've seen highlights of Barry Sanders, right?
Yes. So that was a loss of 12 on that first down play. Brings up 2nd and 22. Oh, pass here in and out of the hands of Romero.
Well, there's blood in the water. Let's put it like that. The Bobcat defense here is swarming and just ziplining to the football wherever it might be. I think that was Samuel Cleese that was there in coverage for Cienega, number 27. Or maybe more likely it would be Sebastian. It was Sebastian Felix, wasn't it, 29? Or was that Chris Burrows, 23?
Yeah, I think it was Chris Burrows on that left side. Pass here down the middle. Coverage. Oh. It was tipped up for... Who is that?
Francisco Anaya.
Yeah. And Francisco Anaya was unable to bring in the tip.
Blood in the water. That defense circling around, as it were, looking to make turnovers.
Punt here is going to go out of bounds.
So it'll be 31 yards on the punt from Isaac Gonzalez, who has impressed. I think on that punt, deliberately trying to keep the ball away from Terrell Hayward. I think the Apaches have seen enough of Hayward tonight here to realize we better not put the ball in this guy's direction at all. Cienega here going full throttle, the pedal to the metal, 28-0 with 2:36 on the clock. You know they want to put another touchdown on the board here and try to get the 2s and 3s, as Pat Nugent calls them, out on the field getting some reps. But it just fell apart very quickly. Nogales impressive early in particular. If they're able to sustain that kind of effort against Marana, they'll have a shot next week.
Dylan Silva on the run, right side. More like a fullback type of runner.
And it's nice to see him rewarded for all of his hard effort. He is a fullback. That's his third carry of the season. And he's now got 22 yards, averaging 7.5 yards a carry and a touchdown.
Low snap here, but Morales will get it off to Torres.
And I think that ball was tipped from one of the defensive linemen. So Sergio with a rare reception. That is his first catch of the season. And I do think that that ball deflected off of the hands of Hernan Ortiz.
2nd and 10. Morales, plenty of time, looking to throw left side. Diego Ruby, intended receiver, but incomplete.
And the Cats going tempo here, not allowing Nogales to substitute or reset their defense. So plenty of time on the clock. There's 2 minutes here. That's an eternity. The Cats have 2 timeouts. Nogales has 2 timeouts as well.
Rolling right. Good block by Silva.
Oh, beautiful block.
Downfield, near end zone.
Ethan!
White for the touchdown.
Yes! 34 yards on the catch from Ethan White. Tight roping in the back of the end zone. And you see the vertical there from Ethan as he jumps off of the broad shoulders.
Is that his first?
That is his first touchdown catch of the year indeed. The broad shoulders of Daniel Hernandez. Wow, what a block from Dylan Silva to buy time for Luis Morales, and then for Luis to deliver that touchdown strike. How many yards was that on the pass?
33.
Beautiful catch from Ethan White.
Extra point is good, makes it 35-0 with 1:50 to go in the half.
Steamy Concepts brought you that touchdown. 33 yards on the reception. Luis Morales Jr. to Ethan White. An excellent catch, elevating at the back line of the end zone, and then getting, looked like both feet down in bounds. And very happy he is, and as he should be. That was an excellent catch there for Ethan. Now he's back out there on special teams. I think Terrell Hayward's done. I think Hayward's out of the game here. I would imagine that that's Luis Morales' last snap of the game here tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing some Daniel Montana at quarterback for the Cats. Quarterback number 3. Thomas Webb Jr. is the backup quarterback for the Bobcats. And I guess in a pinch, if you needed, you could put Terrell Hayward back at quarterback in a big situation. We've seen him throwing the football very effectively. He has a perfect passer rating. He's 2 for 2 on throws this season with 2 touchdowns.
Ezra Figueroa getting a lot of his kickoffs into the end zone.
Yes. And there's no wind. I mean, there's nary a breeze. We might have a 3-mile-per-hour breeze, if you want to call it that, going ever so slightly from right to left. And again, the way that this stadium and the playing field is situated, there is a buffer on all sides. On the far side, you have a high rolling hill. On the home side where we are, you have the grandstand. To the right, you have buildings here that are acting as a buffer to the wind. And the only open spot we have is to the left, but there's a massive scoreboard there as well that's also a buffer for the wind. So even if it were windy outside, I still think down on the field it would be less so.
Feels like we're kind of in a bowl here.
I really love this little carved out space here at Nogales. It's unique, it's special. It has charm like the old time style baseball parks do in the major leagues. You're using the surrounding landscape and you're using that to accent the field.
Felix throw here on the run. And a flag there.
Elijah Miko looked like he had a hand there on Alejandro Ramos. Ramos, number 16, a senior. So 103. Nogales trying to put some points on the board here. They've got 1 minute and 3 seconds and 2 timeouts. I have to say, Jacob, I do regret not going. Stephen Harris, the freshman English teacher, one of my colleagues. I want to say hi to Karen Rogers. I doubt she's watching. And Laura Bittler as well, my peers in the freshman house. But Stephen Harris, who worked here at Nogales years ago, said there's a great Mexican restaurant on Mariposa. I didn't know how to find it, so I would have loved to have had some authentic Mexican cuisine tonight for dinner.
Pass complete here to Romero. Breaks one tackle, who's Josiah Ware, running down left side. And a good play there for the Apaches. 53 seconds to go. They can put some points here on the board before heading into the half.
Jacob Acosta with some hustle there to save what could have been a touchdown for Ivan Romero. Clock continues to run here. 40 seconds and counting.
About 30 seconds to go here. Pitched it back to Romero. Diego Rivas there on the tackle.
Well, it was a hard hit. And Nogales wisely calls their last timeout with 24 seconds here. Big hit from Diego Rivas. Rivas, a solid linebacker. I think overshadowed a little bit. He's not a huge playmaker, but he is absolutely rock solid at that linebacking position. I'm still tracking that baseball score. 5-2 Brewers. I just wonder if the Brewers hang on to win today, who pitches tomorrow for the Dodgers and who would go for the Brewers. That Brewers bullpen has been taxed. They talked about them going, I think, 33 2/3 innings before tonight's game. And that's the most innings logged by any team in baseball history, I think, in an NLCS or a championship series in baseball. So the game has certainly evolved and changed. We'll see what happens. Another low snap.
Gets the pass off here to Romero. Right there is Nathan Amico, Hunter Schlegel, Diego Rivas. Did I say Nathan Amico?
Yes.
Sorry.
Younger
Zach Mattis.
Okay.
Wears the same number 8.
Oh, that's right. Big Nate Amico, number 8. So he graduated last year. His younger brother Elijah, such a different player, number 11, is Elijah Amico. Very talented scat player who excels on special teams, on coverage in the defensive secondary. So there's big Zach Mattis. Maybe the best product of the Mattis gym. I always got to throw a shout out there to Todd Mattis. Just ripped. Big Penn State. He has to be disheartened from last week's game. I know Penn State lost to Michigan State in a heartbreaker. So the Penn State Nittany Lions, I think, with 2 losses now on the season. Both close ones. But there's Zach, the rock-solid defender for the Cats on the tackle. 12 seconds on the clock.
They're going to throws a long one here.
Picked.
And it is picked off by Diego Ruby, his second interception of the game.
A chance here.
Still going.
If he had gone all the way across or maybe cut back this way, he had a chance. And a late flag thrown in here. We don't want to see this kind of activity. We've seen Diego Ruby on long interception returns for touchdowns. He's got the speed and the vision out there to make big plays happen. So, and I'm sure that Jeff Bull now and Brett Darling and that defense and the coaching staff have to be very pleased here. 5 turnovers last week, or 5 takeaways last week. And how many are we at here tonight? I'm not paying attention to it.
Let's see.
What I am paying attention to is that scoreboard. Okiroki Sushi. Sushi wings. I don't know what that is. They must be 2 separate items. So Okiroki Sushi, down here in Nogales, they must have sushi and they also have wings? Unless it's one item. Sushi wings. But it draws us to halftime. It's been a long week, Jacob.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit off kilter. It has been a long week. So cross country Wednesday, girls volleyball senior night Wednesday, excellent events. Happy to be there. Thursday, the swim meet, excellent to be there as well. And then tonight, the long trip, not as long as going to Buena, not as long as going to Centennial, but a long road trip to Nogales. But thank God it's a Friday night. So the 19th of October, as it certainly feels like fall, and it certainly feels like playoff football. And I'm sure that that coaching staff from Cienega, the first quarter, things were not looking good. And Nogales did an excellent job of just being scrappy and gritty in that first quarter. And now we've seen the separation here. Too many playmakers for that Bobcat team. And we knew coming in here, looking at Nogales' record, looking at the scores, their opponents, and the difficulties that they've had against strong competition with Ironwood Ridge and with Sunnyside, Buena, Cienega tonight, of course. Like, we knew that the Bobcats would be heavy favorites here, and it would have taken something spectacular and miraculous for Nogales to come out with a win. So we've got, it looks like we've got homecoming festivities happening here for Nogales and some feedback. That's interesting. The echo, echo. 35-0 at halftime, but I think Pat Nugent has to be pleased with his players, and I expect in the second half, I would anticipate seeing, he calls them the 2s and 3s, so the kids that aren't the starters, but they're very talented players, and we should see them featuring here. I'd love to see these kids dressed up here in formal attire, dresses. The guys have suits, shirts, and ties, very nicely dressed here tonight. So I guess we'll take a break and let the halftime festivities happen here at Nogales High School.
Right now, I'd like to direct your attention to the 50-yard line, where our homecoming court has made their way across the field. And now, here is our student body treasurer, Maya Robles.
This year's Grand Marshal, Mr. Joel Acos, is a beloved member of the Nogales High School family. He is a Nogales native and an NHS graduate and has been working in the district for 29 years. I give a round of applause. And now it's time to announce the 2018 Homecoming Royalty.
We're going to explore.
This year's freshman prince and princess are Julian Garcia and Paulina Lastanzo. Followed by freshman class officers Daniela Carosiva and Laisha Esquez. are Juan Velázquez and Paulina Posua. Crowned by sophomore class officers Jessica Lopez and Isabela Palomares. This year's Junior Prince and Princess are Sebastian Solis and Amy Pollard. Crowned by junior officers Daniela Munoz and Eduardo Yepi. This year's Duke is Hector Calzarillo, crowned by senior officer Luke Franco. This year's Senior Prince and Princess are Brandon Rojas and Samantha Garcia. Crowned by senior class officers Diego Parra and Cielo Arrochi.
Yeah, Brandon! You go, Brandon! You're the man, Brandon!
And finally, the 2018 football homecoming king and queen are Ivan Romero as they make their way around Apache Stadium. The result of the homecoming flow competition is first place goes to the freshman with Brazil. Third place goes to the juniors with France. Second place goes to the sophomores with Nogales. Homecoming activities successful. We would like to recognize this year's Teacher of the Year, Mr. Dover. All the class sponsors for the continual support and dedication to their class. The Nogales, the Police Department and Border Patrol. The Downtown Merchants. Nogales High School at Cienega. And our student council advisor, Ms. Thompson.
Walking up those stairs isn't working.
And finally, on behalf of all the student bodies, I want to thank all of you for the participation in the 2018 Nogales High School Homecoming. Enjoy the rest of the game and go Apache!
The pride of Nogales Marching Band, ladies and gentlemen. Another reminder that tonight's concessions are being sold by the NHS football boosters. Please support the football team at the concession stands tonight.
All right, welcome back into the broadcast here. If you are just tuning in, we are in Nogales, Arizona, here at Nogales High School. Cienega Bobcats have done all the scoring, 35-0. It was Caleb Beard's 7-yard touchdown run. Terrell Hayward's 7-yard touchdown pass makes it 14-0. Then another Terrell Hayward touchdown reception. Diego Ruby with a pick 6. Ethan White with a 33-yard touchdown reception also. 35-0. Cats do all the scoring in the first half.
It was very nice. And I have to say, I lost you in that sea of humanity down there. A mob of students, snack bar area. I saw 2 seniors who are injured for the Bobcats. Kevon Waples, number 5, and Eli Galvan, number 42. Galvan would have been the fullback and maybe a defensive end or a linebacker on the defense. And Kevon Waples would have likely factored into that mix at wide receiver. It was great to see those kiddos. I also saw Mrs. Hayward, who I said hello to very quickly, and I saw Todd Mattis, so it's good to see him too. You never want to get into a scrap with Todd Mattis. He's just too big and too intimidating. But he's, I would say, a gentle giant. But I just wanted to acknowledge those 2 kids, Kevon Waples and Eli Galvan. And I just, my heart goes out for both of them. Eli with the knee injury during, I think, the Copper Navy game, and then Kevon Waples also with a slightly torn ACL, or maybe it was meniscus, but both those guys out with knees, and I really thought that Kevon would be able to come back, but he's had difficulty gaining the lateral movements and the ability to push off of his foot on that injured knee. But those 2 kids just put so much work into their program and their effort. And those kind of things are heartbreaking to me to see. But I wanted to acknowledge those kids here as we get near the end of the regular season, and a beautiful halftime display as the halftime festivities. I don't know if you saw those golf carts that were here. They had like a fleet of golf carts. Yeah. I want one. So they had like 5. They look like stylish, like actual little automobiles out on the track here during the halftime festivities. So I'm all over the place here, Jacob. But you called the scores here. Caleb Beard on the touchdown run. Terrell Hayward, 2 touchdown receptions from Luis Morales, and then Diego Ruby's pick 6, and then the Ethan White touchdown catch here. So seems like the Cats rounding into form after a sleepy opening here on the road, and they're really clicking truly on all cylinders here. Looking toward next week, and I'm sure in the second half we'll see the 2s and 3s, as Pat Nugent calls them, making their mark on the second half of this ball game tonight.
And like you said down there, you lost me. There are a lot of people here for Nogales, more than I thought.
Right?
They're not in the stands. They're just down there standing up against the gate or getting concessions here to the right.
I love this stadium. The track itself is impressive. They have 10 lanes, so this is the type of a track that could certainly host regional playoffs or regional and state playoffs in track and field. So a beautiful venue, and I mentioned that to Eli and Kavan at halftime too. I said, I just love this field. It's nestled here in the natural landscape of Nogales, and you have the city on one side or the town on one side, and you have the natural hills on the other side. And it's a beautiful venue. Just the field is nestled in here. It is unique. It is special. And I also said I like the grass, and they looked at me like it was crazy, and they're like, well, I don't know about the field. So the field is a different story. So patchwork grass here, very difficult to keep that sustained and maintained. The Arizona Diamondbacks announced last week that they are eschewing natural grass. They tried different kinds of blends and hybrid Bermudas. They can't do it. If the Diamondbacks can't grow grass in Arizona, I don't know why I think that I could grow grass, or it's very difficult for a high school program to grow grass and maintain it over the long breadth of a season, particularly with all the rains that we've had here, because these kids are still going to practice out here, and the field is rather torn up, I have to say.
Yeah. I remember going to a few Diamondbacks games. They would always have just how the field looks here.
Patches of dirt and brown or dead grass.
So with them, with all the, they have everything they have to maintain, and being indoors, and they couldn't do it, so it's going to be tough.
That's a good point, right? So if the sun, and how blistering and withering the sun can be in Arizona, we know how it is. It's almost as if God held up a magnifying glass, and we're kind of like ants under the magnifying glass, if you ever did that when you were a little kiddo. But they can close the roof if it's getting too much sun. They could really control it. They have it climate controlled. They have limitless resources. Any high school program isn't going to have those same type of maintenance and groundskeeping and landscaping resources. So a very difficult challenge for any high school in this state to maintain natural grass. Although I love seeing natural grass. I love the smell of it. I love how it smells when it's cut, and I love walking on it. And I'm looking forward tonight, Jacob. I'm going to go down there post-game and snag some seniors and get some interviews.
10 Apaches from the 20-yard line.
So the Nogales Apaches will start here first in the second half at the 20, as Cienega received first in the first half. So here we go. It's Oscar Felix at quarterback, 3 receivers to his right. Handoff here goes, has some room.
Chris Burrows, man, he's just so scrappy.
And what a game Chris Burrows had last week. 1 interception and 2 fumble recoveries. That's 3 turnovers he was involved in out of the 5 that they had against Miranda last week.
He is a ball magnet. I ran into him, or my path crossed paths with his earlier this week. I was like, hey, Chris Burrows. He stopped in his tracks, and I'm like, man, you keep it up. I love watching you play. We hugged. It was very nice, and he said he appreciated it. I know what a hard worker he is. Steve Schween says he works as hard as anybody in the weight room. So to see him improve from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior year, it has been quite a development and an upward trajectory with his skill set as an impact maker on that defense and on special teams this year. He's done some crazy things, super athletic things that are very rare in the game of football. And I've gone full winter, Jacob. I have gloves, the beanie, and a scarf. I know it's not that cold, but we're getting there.
Yep. I think it was Sergio Torres who was a little too close there. Gave him a flag, 5-yard penalty. Handoff here goes to Gracia. And all over him are the Cats. Chris Burrows.
Hunter Schlegel trying to reach one of his large paws in there to strip the football. So very alert there on the defensive line. We got Burrows and Anaya back at safety. Torres at corner. And then Jacob Acosta and Zach Mattis still in there at linebacker, and Diego Rivas at linebacker. So a mix of starters and guys that do get a lot of snaps on defense at the secondary.
And it's going to be a loss of yards here. Cats break right through the line. Roderick Quintero.
And Paul Gracia on the carry. I think he lost his footing in that muddy middle section there. So as you would imagine, the area between and around the hash marks near and far side is particularly dug up. Looks like somebody was out there with a rake and a shovel digging into the earth.
Second and 4. Goes to Romero, right side. Breaks one tackle.
Quick little move there from Ivan Romero. I don't know if that was Frank Torres or Sebastian Felix that was there in a tackle, but you've got to attack. You can't let the other player who has the football kind of dictate what's going to happen. You've got to go in there aggressively.
So Sergio Torres back there to receive the punt.
I want to see Sergio Torres. I want to see what he can do on this punt return. These are the things that I was looking forward to tonight, quite frankly. Oh, a fake. Beautiful fake. And I think Nogales got it. Yes. Jose Jimenez, number 25, appeared to have been the ball carrier. And their normal punter, number 54, Isaac Gonzalez, with an excellent fake there, ghosting the Bobcat defenders. Why not? That's a great time to call that trick play. And let's keep something going here for the Apaches.
First and 10 from the 42. Handoff goes nowhere here. Loss of yards here.
I always have a slight concern, a little bit of anxiety about injuries potentially. I wouldn't mind seeing the whole 2s and 3s go out there on defense to protect the starters on this defense for the Cats. I know those kids want to get their reps and their snaps and the starters. They don't want to come off the field. But I guess that's the dad in me that just is always kind of looking like, okay, go have fun, but don't do anything crazy.
Time here to pass, and it is to Chris Burrows.
There he is.
Cienega
Oh,
safety.
look at that.
Breaks one tackle.
A chance here.
Side. Coming all the way across left field. Wow.
About a 25-yard return there from Burrows. Lurking back there, the ball-hawking magnet is the senior Chris Burrows, number 23. And a chance there on the return. So the would-be tackler who was the receiver, the intended target, he just ducked underneath him, and then he took off a little bit. We had to look at his stats and see how many turnovers that he has been responsible for this season. Number 23, Chris Burrows. Effective.
Breaks one tackle, nice move. And you don't want to run into Caleb Beard.
No.
Number 6, Gennaro Parra got laid out on that hit.
21 yards on the carry. Sebastian Felix downfield with a nice job on the block.
Torres left side. Tries to spin back.
A little greedy, a little bit. There's a flag down on the other side of the field.
So a false start on Cienega will back them up.
Let me mention that offensive line. So well coached. So at left tackle, Andrew Husfeld, number 55. The left guard, number 57, Tyree McKinney. Daniel Hernandez, number 66 at center. Quintero Rodobert Quintero at right guard. And Darian Torres at right tackle. A stalwart offensive line for the Bobcats.
First and 15, Tony Brown here with the reception.
That ball was deflected, so 14, maybe 15 yards on the reception from Tony. The catch and run, and the Chains move forward here. Another nice catch from Tony. Five catches now for 72 yards for Tony Brown.
First and goal from the 5. Tony Brown, Sebastian Felix. Sergio Torres has receivers. Rolling right.
Mattis! Oof! A little bit low, but certainly catchable. And Zach, I'm sure he was right there for a touchdown, so he'll regret not holding on to that one. But that was a little bit low for him, in fairness to him. A little bit higher, I think he catches that one and just strolls into the end zone for a touchdown.
Caleb Beard looking for that right corner again and gets it for another touchdown for Caleb Beard on the 5-yard run.
I love it. And Sebastian Felix again doing the dirty work down the field with that seal of a block. And he was all over number 33, Edilberto Barnett. So it was Felix there who paved the way, but Beard with his legs, his second touchdown, 5 yards on the run.
Looked identical to the first one.
It did. The clock will continue to run. If a player runs out of bounds, so fans who are chilly or want to hit the road or whatever, it will expedite the process here tonight. 6:03 on the clock, frozen at the moment, but this game will progress much more quickly unless Nogales is able to put points on the board. I want to thank Josh Kramer and Bobcat TV, his kiddos here. I have no data. I'm always like out of data. We must have like the worst data plan ever. And I'm not on my phone that much. I mean, occasionally I'll look at a baseball score or my fantasy baseball or fantasy football team, and then mostly I use it for GPS. So I've got to talk to Mrs. Miller and see if we can like up our game a little bit so I can get online a little bit on my phone.
Hand off there to, I was going to say Hayward.
I think it's Paul Gracia.
Gracia.
The junior, 5'8", 155.
So homecoming, they had a few alumni come onto the field, football players.
Yes.
Danny Villa, former offensive lineman for the Apaches. We know that Tucson.com came out with a top 10 list of the top 10 football players from each school. He was number 1 for the Nogales Apaches. Here is Romero on the run. He graduated in 1982 from Nogales, went to ASU, one of ASU's best linemen of all time, won the Rose Bowl with ASU.
Wow.
And then got drafted in the 5th round by the Patriots and played 12 seasons in the NFL.
I wonder if he was at ASU when Danny White was at ASU. Danny White was a great quarterback collegiately, and then a solid quarterback in the National Football League for the Dallas Cowboys for many years under Tom Landry, one of the great coaches of all time, Hall of Famer Tom Landry. I wonder if he was there at ASU when Danny White was there, quarterback.
Pass is caught here. Alejandro Ramos on the reception. wide receiver, 5'10", 170 senior.
Nice little out route. I have to say, Oscar Felix has been solid tonight. So many snaps have been so low, and Felix at 5'11", able to pluck those off of the ground and able to manage the offense here tonight. I think a false start here, maybe some motion. Oh, offsides against the Cats.
A lot of flags here tonight for the Bobcats. I think it's good that it's coming in this game so that they can watch film through this week and prepare for the playoffs.
I agree. And Ironwood Ridge is no joke. I know that they're down a little bit this season in terms of their record. And I think that they are 4-4 going into tonight's big game at Buena. I would be curious to know what the score is in that game. That game has significant ramifications for both teams and their chances of making the playoffs. There was a false start there, no call.
Being chased there by David Wilkinson, eludes the pressure and gets the pass off to Gracia.
Let's see what this penalty is. There was all kinds of movement on the line. And it looks like a hold or illegal use of hands on the defense. But for Ironwood Ridge to have a chance to make the playoffs, they had to win tonight at Buena, a difficult task. And they had to go to Cienega next week and beat the Cats. And that is a daunting task as well. Matt Johnson, an excellent coach at Ironwood Ridge. He won a state championship several years ago. That team is a dangerous team. I know they're having a down year, but Cienega on senior night, that is a very steep challenge for the Nighthawks of Ironwood Ridge.
Starting to see the 2s and 3s for the Cats. David Wilkinson, Isaiah Alvarez, and let's see, pass here incomplete.
Sergio, a late flag. So Sergio had popped up and said incomplete, and the official that's back there in the secondary throwing that late flag in there. It's going to be interference going against Sergio Torres. John Flores, number 17, also back there at safety for the Cats.
Chase Iverson on the line.
So at high school, it's a 15-yard penalty for pass interference.
Felix in the pocket, throws, and there was 2 Bobcat defenders there, John Flores and I think that might be Trevor Hughes, right there in coverage.
Is that number 80? Is that Raymond Garcia down there for the Cats? Or is that Trevor Hughes? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's 80. Raymond Garcia.
Oh,
Garcia, yep, gets hit hard.
That was a big hit. I think it was Hunter Schlegel again. He's a monster down there on the defensive line. And I mean that in the best possible way.
75, Chase Iverson.
Oh, sorry, thank you. What's more impressive, Jacob, I don't think the fans know this, but you have the entire roster memorized. So from 1 through 88, you know every player on that Cienega Bobcat roster.
It was a goal of mine before the season started.
A testament to your professionalism and your work ethic and preparedness. Very nicely done.
Felix throws left side. And it's Romero on the catch inside the 10. 1st and 8 on the 8-yard line. Felix running right side, has space, and is in for the touchdown. The Nogales Apaches get on the board with the 8-yard touchdown run from Oscar Felix. But there's
a flag. We'll see what this flag is. Nice run there by Felix.
Wow.
What a shame. Very disappointing here. You give your fans something to cheer about here, and it's wiped away with a flag. Remember, they had an earlier touchdown, an 85-yard touchdown run by Ivan Romero that was wiped off for a hold again. So 2 plays there that really got the crowd energized, and then both wiped off the board. And I keep looking at Okiroki sushi wings. Like, if I would have known about Okiroki, I would have like lobbied to have gone there for dinner tonight. Certainly, we didn't have the time to do so. We had to take a quick to-go meal from Subway, and I think next time I come to Nogales, I'm going to Okiroki.
12 seconds to go here in the 3rd. Throw here from Felix. Not a good throw there. Raymond Garcia almost came up with it. It's going to leave 8 seconds on the clock for the 3rd. No rush here.
3 wide receiver or 3 defensive backs there. 3 white jerseys there. Right, I see it. Friday and Saturday nights. Is that what you're pointing to as the scoreboard?
No, I was wondering why the clock wasn't running.
Oh, gotcha. Now it is. Yeah. So the 3rd quarter has now expired. Super spicy roll. I'm just mesmerized by that scoreboard.
Yep. I wonder what the time period was when the Wildcats had that.
That's a good question. I want to say within the decade. So 2008 or later. How many players do you have in your basketball fantasy team?
I think it's 15.
Do you have a center, a forward, a guard, a flex position where you can?
There's 3 utilities, and then like 8 starters.
Josh Kramer loves the scoreboard as well. Si se puede. I did kick some Espanol earlier today, which was nice.
Yeah.
I don't get the chance to do that too often. My wife is pretty fluent, so I guess I could converse with her. Maybe I'll try that when she comes back from Los Angeles. She'll probably just look at me like I'm crazy, like normal.
Is she up there for some Lakers games?
I wish. She's out there for a wedding. So her cousin Jimmy got married tonight. So.
And you're gonna be over there next week, right?
Yes, we have another wedding. So we have another cousin getting married. Nice run.
Romero all the way down to the 1-yard line. Looked like, yep.
Go ahead.
Looked like it might have almost went in there for the touchdown.
Almost. 13 yards on the carry by Ivan Romero, who has been impressive here tonight, number 23. If the Dodgers win tomorrow, I'm assuming they're going to lose tonight. They're down 6-2 in the top of the 8th. There's a chance that potentially we could maybe go see a World Series game. Red Sox and Dodgers, of course, the Red Sox, the best team in baseball, have to be favored regardless of who they would play in the World Series.
It's going to be a hot ticket.
Yeah, an expensive ticket, too.
Running right here, and
he got the pylon for a touchdown. Yes! Alejandro Ramos.
They've deserved it. They've been playing hard all game.
Yes.
And it was low there. kick was low.
Yep, Sebastian Armenta did a good job. That snap skipped off of the grass, and Armenta, the placeholder, did a great job of putting it there, but I think it threw off the rhythm of Miley Vasquez, who is the place kicker here for the Apaches. But you're right, they deserve that. They've been working hard. They have not relented whatsoever. Alejandro Ramos had 2, and again, Oscar Felix on another low snap. Again, a snap that skipped off of the ground, able to pick it up, and as he was being tackled, able to get the pitch off there. And a nice run from Ramos, reversing field and diving into the end zone, hitting the pylon. Obviously a touchdown there. So well done for the Apaches, giving these great fans something to cheer about.
And Miley Vasquez, the kicker, is a female, and she was she was in USA Today because she hit the most field goals in a game.
Jacob Greenberg, the crack statistician and researcher, unearthing gems from the vault.
Sergio Torres on the return.
A little indecisive. On a kickoff return, you've got to go full throttle, and you've got to go north-south. You've got to go vertically, maybe a move laterally, but then you've got to just fly upfield. A little too much hesitation and pitter-patter steps there from Sergio. Yeah, I think a World Series ticket, somebody told me this last year because the Dodgers lost in 7 to the Houston Astros. And I know Dodger fans will curse and rue Yu Darvish, who was awful in 2 World Series games. But I want to say, like, the cheapest ticket was like $1,000. Can you imagine $1,000 for a ticket up in the nosebleeds?
I think the average ticket for the Lakers game on Saturday is like $750. Yeah.
Because it's their first home game with LeBron James? Yep. Anything to sell tickets and generate hype and publicity to escalate prices and jack up profits. That's the nature of sports. It's the nature of business as well. If somebody's willing to pay for it and you can get that money, then go for it. Flores started going right, and then he cut back to the left. Gain of 7. I was at the 2001 World Series, Jacob. I went to game 2, 6, and 7. As a Yankee fan, I was heartbroken. But game 2, a lifetime highlight, I saw Ray Charles play America the Beautiful on the Oregon pregame. And that was worth everything for those 3 games. But I think my mother was asking me about ticket prices, and I had a friend that was working in the Diamondbacks front office, and he was able to connect me. I still had to pay whatever face value was for the tickets. So I think I had 2 seats for game 2 and 4 seats for 6 and 7. So I must have put those on a credit card because I certainly didn't have the cash to go, but much more reasonably priced compared to $1,000 for one ticket in the nosebleeds. I'll go on to StubHub or whatever websites there are if the Dodgers win tomorrow just to see, but I'm sure my wife will be like, we can't do that.
Daniel Montana. Pass is low there for White, and it's incomplete.
I love Montana. I love 16. Joe Montana is my favorite quarterback. Nick Foles is also my favorite quarterback. Nicky Foles at the U of A, number 8, number 9 with the Eagles. They have a statue of him outside of that stadium there. Is it Lincoln Financial Fields?
Of Nick Foles?
Yeah, they have a statue of Nick Foles, who's the coach of the Eagles. My memory's like failing me here.
Doug Peterson. Right,
Doug Peterson. So they have a statue outside of wherever the Eagles play their games, and it's the Philly special. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, months after they won the Super Bowl, it's like we're going to put a statue outside.
Punt there goes out of bounds from Matt Slattery.
25 yards on the punt. T-Webb will be back next week. It is senior night. I'm sure that he is chomping at the bit. It must be very difficult for him. He missed, I think, 3 games with the stinger and then ejected last week unfairly, just criminally, and then has to sit out this week. So he's missed 5 of his 10 regular season games here. And we know how hard that he works as a leader on that team, in the weight room, in the practice fields, watching film.
Hand off here, goes left side. Samuel Cleese. Bobby Belts on the stop.
And I'll make a projection about T-Webb next week. And my prediction is that he goes off. He'll be like a caged tiger, set loose. I would expect him to run people over next week and be very active next Friday night.
Why does he have to take it out on them?
I don't think, it doesn't matter who it is. Whoever it would be, I think he's just going to go off next week.
I wouldn't be surprised if he like sent an email to like the AIA or something asking to get it repealed or something to be able to play in this game.
That's a good point.
Case.
If you feel that there is an injustice, you can send an email or pen a letter and send that off there. Now, I am as critical of the Arizona Interscholastic Association as anybody. Not a fan. I don't like how they legislate. I don't like how they take all of the proceeds from any playoff game. They take 100% of the gate receipt, the ticket sales of any playoff game in any sport. They have a bureaucracy and an administration up in Phoenix that truly does not care about what's happening in southern Arizona unless they're not. The only thing they really care about, in my estimation, is revenue and profits. And I don't think that they're serving the student athlete well, and I certainly don't think that they are representing southern Arizona well either. And everything is always skewed or slanted toward Phoenix, and there's certainly bias there as well. So there's my rant against the AIA.
Felix back to pass. And incomplete, intended to Romero. Third and 10 for the Apaches. Felix back to pass. Long throw here. Has it. Oh, it's bring in by number 23, Ivan Romero. Nice catch there.
2 players converging at the same point. Samuel Cleese in coverage right there, arriving as the ball arrived. It was a joust for the football, and Romero just clutched that one and came down with it. Ivan Romero, very impressive tonight, the senior, number 23.
Nice fake here. Goes to number 7, Gracia.
I know it's a big deficit here, 36-point deficit for the Apaches. But they have impressed tonight. They've done a lot of excellent things here that when you look at the film tomorrow morning, you're going to say, wow, if we could have done this slightly different. Remember, 2 touchdowns called back here, so that also factors into this game. It's a much closer game than the scoreboard indicates.
A new runner here, 42, German Para.
And he elicited oohs from those Apaches that are down there on the sideline as he collided violently with Austin Scheid. I would guess that Austin is the younger brother of Amy Scheid. And there's another cheerleader from last year. She graduated. I forget her first name. She was not one of my students. Alex Scheid, maybe? Oh, great catch! What a catch!
It was Felix to Richard Hanlon, the 4th, right over the middle, caught for a touchdown. Bailey Vasquez. Extra point is good.
I'm guessing she's a soccer player?
Good chance.
Wow, what a throw from Oscar Felix, and what a catch from Richard Hanlon IV. It reminds me a little bit of Terrell Owens going back to a playoff game from years back. Garcia was the quarterback. I don't remember his name either. But Antia was just inducted to the Hall of Fame, right? He finally made the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And decided not to go to Canton, Ohio. And I think he went back to his high school for his induction speech. So Terrell Owens always kind of like marching to his own beat. But it reminded me of that there. A catch in traffic with some contact, and a great catch from Richard Hanlon.
Elijah Miko on the return.
Ooh. Boy, he was pulled down violently on that. But he shows flashes there, flashes of speed as a returner. And I think they're saying that that extra point was no good. So we're at 42-12 here with 5:39 on the clock.
Did it not go in?
I guess not. I mean, because one of the players running off the field from Cienega, I think it was Tony Brown, who was like, nope, no good. He was very excited. So I don't know if that was wide left or if it went under the crossbar. But 42-12 is the score. I'm thinking, I don't know what you think, but I would love to interview Caleb Beard tonight with 2 touchdowns. And I would like to interview Chris Burrows for all that he's done as a senior. And then maybe Diego Ruby. I think those 3 players might be good targets tonight. I was thinking about getting Daniel Hernandez, too, one of the seniors on the offensive line. So we'll have interviews post-game. Feel free to chime in with your suggestions, Jacob. I'm open to anything, really. And it's always a challenge because the team likes to huddle and have their post-game talk with Pat Nugent, and they're always reluctant to be interviewed until afterwards, but that conversation could be a couple of minutes. So I'm going to try my best to get somebody to intercede and see if we can get some quick post-game interviews before we pack up all the gear, get back in the van, TV9, and head back to Cienega High School this evening.
Colin Thomas on the run.
I was hoping to see Lane Baldwin, number 33, tonight as well, as a ball carrier. But it looks like Lane Thomas is out there to close this, or sorry, Colin Thomas is out there to close this thing out. Adrian Villa, the wide receiver. And Omar Haros, number 3, the senior cornerback. That ball literally went through his hands. And he had pick 6 possibilities in front of him as well from about 25 yards out. Miranda better be careful. They're going to watch film. And I really am curious to know what's going on at Buena in that game tonight. But Miranda's coming here. And that is going to be a tough challenge. This is a proud team and a proud program with a strong lineage and an excellent history. And they have really impressed me tonight. I know they're overmatched against Cienega, but this team has battled and scrapped, and it's much closer than this.
In the first few offensive drives for the Cats, Nogales was getting some good defensive stops.
Yes. I want to thank Nogales High School for their hospitality in allowing us to broadcast here tonight, to tap into their power. We have an excellent parking spot very close to the stadium, and every person whom I've interacted with has been extremely generous and hospitable. So we are appreciative of Nogales High School, home of the Apaches. They have a serious basketball team. They will be playing at Cienega High School, I think, early in the season. Maybe on senior night, actually.
Montana to throw. Gets it to Trevor Hughes. Hughes running down the middle. It's 55. Miguel Hernandez to tackle Hughes.
13 yards on the catch for Trevor. And that was very nice. Catching the ball and running very fluidly. And that's Trevor's first reception of the season.
Here's Lane Baldwin.
Yes. Lane marches to his own beat as well. Does number 33. So good to see him out there getting a carry for 2 yards. These kids work so hard all year long in spring ball, off-season conditioning, summer passing league, regular season, all the practices. So for these kids to get some snaps, some catches, some running plays, some positive yards, I really enjoy watching these guys out there making plays.
21, Alex Harshman to run.
Younger brother of Stephen Harshman, an excellent inside linebacker for Cienega. Stephen Harshman had possibilities. There were Ivy League schools that wanted him to play for their school. I think Yale was very interested in him. He could have gone to Yale and played for the Bulldogs collegiately and gotten an Ivy League education. And Stephen was just finished playing football. I think he just got burned out in the sport. And it happens. If you're playing football year-round, or whatever sport it is, you start a kid too young, and sometimes they just get burned out on it.
Montana throws, low pass, but it is caught. Jesus Gonzalez, senior receiver.
If only there were a Rice on the team. You can say Montana to Rice.
That'd be nice.
Yes, it would be. The San Francisco treat, Rice-A-Roni.
Montana hands it off to Jerry Rice.
And I think it's fine. I don't think that Cienega is trying to do anything unsportsmanlike there. You have a choice to either punt the football away or you can just run another running play. The Cats here just trying to run more clock time off. I think I'm going to start heading down to the field and see what players that I can snatch down there.
Okay.
Sounds good? I guess I'll just look up to you guys and kind of like signal. Or you can signal down to me in some shape or form once I get those players.
All right. Felix over the middle, and it is picked off here by Bobby Belts.
Wow.
Bobby Belts running right side.
Wow. You told me earlier today, Jacob, Bobby Belts, is this his first game in which he is eligible?
The last game was the first.
So last game, give us his background.
So he's a transfer from Empire, so he had to miss the first 5 games. And then he had a concussion in practice, so he was out for those. And yeah, he's a main, wants to play quarterback. Says he likes to play safety too. There he is, interception. Played varsity over at Empire, quarterback.
So he'll be in the mix next year. He'll be in the competition to succeed Luis Morales Jr. when Luis graduates. There's also a JV player. His last name is Swoger. I forget his first name.
Ryan.
Brian or Ryan?
Ryan Swoger.
Ryan Swoger. So Ryan Swoger and Bobby Belts and Daniel Montana will all be vying for the starting position next year. All right, I'm going to head down there.
Now it's Belts in at quarterback. Has pressure. Gets rid of the pressure. Oh, loses the football though. And fumble here. Officials trying to get into the pile. And the Cats have it. So Bobby Belts eluded some good pressure there. Got off a nice run. Just needs to hold on to it there at the end. Brings up 3rd and 2. Belts hands off to David Clark, the running back, junior. Brings up 4th and 1. They're going to go for it here. 40 seconds to go in the game. Rolling right is Belts, feeling pressure. Gets the throw off, and it's Tristan Bushy, the intended receiver. Tight end.
First and 10 Apaches.
Felix looking to throw. He's going to take it for himself. Still going. Breaking tacklers, and Sergio Torres is able to get him. And it's the Nogales Apaches take a timeout. So 11 seconds to go in the 4th. Cats up 42-12. And they take a timeout with 11 seconds to go. Stay tuned after the game for some post-game interviews with Mr. Miller and select Bobcat footballers. Don't let Nogales' record tell you their history of football. Nogales has had some successful seasons. In 2007, they went 9-2. 2011, they had 10 wins. In 2012, they had 10 wins, went to the semifinals in the playoffs. And most recently, in 2015, they went 8-3. So they've had some good football teams and a good mix of football players that come through Nogales High School. They're going to attempt a field goal here. It's number 2. Not even close. Tony Brown will pick it up to return. And he's still going here. Oh, and that's going to end the game. Tony Brown tried to take it back, but no. 42-12. The Cats win in Week 9. Cats make their record 8-1. And the Nogales Apaches go to 2-7. You too. Thank you. That is number 34, Jesus Torres' uncle of Nogales Apaches, telling Bobcat TV and crew to have a safe drive home. Thanks, Torres' uncle. You too. And stay tuned for some post-game interviews. Go through the scoring plays here. Caleb Beard, 7-yard touchdown run. Terrell Hayward, 7-yard touchdown pass. Terrell Hayward, touchdown reception. Diego Ruby, a 19-yard interception return, pick 6. Ethan White, a 33-yard touchdown. And Caleb Beard, a 5-yard touchdown run. Scoring for the Apaches, Ramos with a touchdown run, and Richard Hanlon, the 4th, with an 18-yard touchdown reception. So it looks like Mr. Miller might be interviewing head coach Nugent here, or might get some of these players after the Cienega fight song. Good show up here for the Bobcat fans over on the other side. So interviews will come after the huddle by Bobcat team. Good job by both teams tonight. Both played hard. Nogales had some good plays, both on offense and defense. Should have a good one with with Marana next week. And we'll send it down to Mr. Miller for an interview.
Crystal, okay. I'm getting this from my top. Terrell Hayward.
Can't hear.
Great athletes. Matchup against Ironwood Ridge and for senior night.
Yes, sir. You know, I love this team, and you know, we all go out and play for each other, and we know we got our backs to the walls, and we know we'll be there. Senior night next week, and that's crazy. We were in the summertime running sprints, and now we're getting up to our last regular season game. So, you know, we're gonna come out there with attitude and come out there and win that regional title.
I look at you, and I look at, and I wanted to talk to him too, but he.
He's a great athlete, great talent, and you know, I try to, you know, give him pointers here and there, but you know what, on the field he does his thing, and that's, you know, grateful for, the team's grateful for him coming out and doing that for us. But you know, I want to say took him under my wing and try to show him a little pointers and, you know, give him to his max potential so he can go out there and ball out.
Luis Morales Jr., so efficient at quarterback. You go and very accurate as quarterback.
You know, everybody talks about Jamari Joyner. Well, everybody started talking about Luis Morales because that kid is a baller, and he's going to go out there and he's going to get the job done no matter what. He had great plays tonight, and he's had great plays ever since the season started. And, you know, he knows that, you know, we'll go out there and we got his back, and we'll go balls to the wall for him. So, you know, we're out there behind him, and he's a great leader, tremendous quarterback, and, you know, he's doing good this season.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Chris Burrows. Oh, man, you're like a magnet. You have a magnet for the ball. You had 3 turnovers last week. You had the interception and 2 fumble recoveries. Earlier in the season, you had the recovery on a kickoff, but it was way downfield. And then tonight with the interception, what's your secret for getting turnovers?
I just go out and I play 100% every game. Every game, my team's behind me, and they're with me, and I just go out and play every game.
Steve Schween, who is in charge of the weight and conditioning program at Cienega High School, says that you are one of the hardest workers in the entire school. You have developed from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior. How does it feel to have all this hard work paying off for you?
Oh, it feels great. Coming off last year where I didn't play too much, came off an injury, had to work hard to get back to where I was. It feels amazing to be where I am right now, and I'm just going to keep progressing, keep working hard in the weight room, and keep getting better.
Congratulations, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chris Burroughs. All right, Daniel. Daniel Hernandez, the center, the anchor of the offensive line. The line never really gets much credit. It's always about the skill kids, getting touchdowns, interceptions, pick sixes, whatever. What is it like for you to block? You've got Caleb here, who has been a workhorse all season long at running back. You have Terrell Hayward, you have Diego Ruby, Luis Morales. So many talented runners in the backfield. Gio Owens when he's out there. What's it like for you to play? You have an excellent offensive line from left to right, the whole line. What does it mean for you?
And just kill whoever is in front of us, no matter who they are or who they've beaten. And having Terrell, Caleb, and all those people in the backfield and as our wideouts, it's a good help.
I like that mentality. Very aggressive, very hostile. You guys are in the trenches. This field is something. I didn't realize how sloppy it was. It's like Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby. There's mud all over the place. Was it hard for you guys to get traction down here on the natural grass?
Yes. The coaches would tell us we need to get off the ball faster, but like our feet would sink in and we would drag. So and we worry about slipping, but they told us not to worry about it, just to push through.
Daniel, you've got some earrings there in your ears. Are you allowed to wear those during the game?
No, I just put them in right now at the end of the game.
Pretty fresh. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Daniel Hernandez. Caleb Beard, my TA from second period.
I'm so hyped I finally get to talk to someone after a game, so thank you.
I've wanted to talk to you all season long. I've wanted to talk to a lot of players all season long. 2 touchdowns tonight, an 8-yard touchdown run, a 5-yard touchdown run. You are the classic, prototypical running back. Pat Nugent, you have his complete trust. He gives you the ball in big situations. You come and you close out games. In close games, you're a north-south runner, always churning with your legs, always pushing forward. Tell me about Daniel and the rest of that offensive line. How good is your offensive line?
Okay, well, honestly, I've made a point of saying this year that Oh, right here. Okay, so before this, like every year, the mentality's been, you know, bad play. The best line. I can't find myself saying that a lot, like more than once or twice a game. Like they're doing the best job, and they make the skills step it up.
What is your mindset next week? We know Ironwood Ridge is maybe slightly down this season, but always a dangerous team. Next week is senior night. You guys are peaking here as you're approaching the playoffs. What are you expecting next Friday night?
It's just another game. We've had hard games before. They're a pretty tough team every year, but we're just gonna get it done. Home, you know, we had to have home field. Senior night, we're gonna be right.
Let's watch a movie on the bus on the way down here.
No, we didn't. I don't think so. I didn't really. No, we did not.
How about you, Rick and Morty?
No, but I'll be watching it when I get home.
Caleb Beard, great job. Congratulations. All right, my TA from second, Diego Ruby. Go, Diego, go. Excellent on defense. You had the pick 6 tonight. I think it was a 19-yard return for a touchdown. You have a knack for making plays happen. Very patient as a punt returner, on defense, as a cornerback, as a wide receiver. You're a beautiful compliment to Terrell Hayward. He said he is taking you under his wing. What did Terrell's tutelage, how did that help you to develop as a receiver in the offensive game?
Look his footsteps. He makes big plays. I try to do the same.
How about your quarterback, Luis Morales? How good is Luis?
I think Luis is one of the smartest quarterbacks I've been with. His choices he makes are perfect. So overall, he's one of the best quarterbacks.
And finally, what about your defensive backfield? You guys have been ball hawking, 5 turnovers last week. I think 3 tonight. I might be off on my numbers, but you guys are opportunistic, and that's going to pay dividends for you guys going down the stretch here and toward the playoffs.
We had a lot of turnovers. We get several turnovers pretty much each game. I think this is one of the best defenses I played for, all around. Corners, safety, linebackers. We just flow together and make plays.
Last question for you, Diego Ruby. Thomas Webb ejected wrongfully last week against Marana. He had to sit out this week, which again is unfortunate. He missed 5 games on the season on the whole with the stinger and then the ejection. I have a feeling that he is going to be like a tiger or released from a cage next Friday night. Is that a pretty good prediction?
You know, it was a bit of a setback not having Thomas for those few games, but I think he's going to use that as fuel and just completely go off next game and playoffs and stuff.
This is a muddy track, as it were. Very sloppy, very muddy. I'm glad I'm wearing my black shoes here tonight. Was it difficult for you guys to adjust? You seemed a little bit sleepy. Were anybody napping on the bus ride down here? Were you a little lethargic opening the game here? Was it the field? Like, what was, you were slow, and in the second quarter, you started to open things up.
Bus ride, it was fun. We were all having some fun, but the mud was definitely a setback. In the running game, I think Lyman were having a little bit of trouble, but they got the job done. And, yeah.
Diego Ruby, thank you so much. All right, we'll see you. All right, we're going to get Pat Nugent over here. You can drift over this way. Thank you so much. Pat, I'm doing very well. Give me your overall assessment of your game here tonight. A slow start, but things definitely picked up in the second quarter for your Bobcats.
You know, it was. We came out a little, I think our kids were a little disturbed by we're used to such fast turf at back home, but they did some nice things to us defensively. They made a few adjustments and came with a lot of pressure, so we really had a little bit of trouble trying to adjust to what they were doing, but just a matter of time to figure out what they were doing and get our kids situated and calm down. You know, the kids, they knew it was going to be that type of game. We could go out and win big, and they kind of took it a little lightly early, but they did a good job responding and getting what we needed to do.
Luis Morales Jr. is so underrated for me as a passer. How good is he? How poised is he? How gritty is he as a playmaker?
Well, gritty's the word. He's just, he doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the fastest kid in the world, but he does everything a coach could ask a kid to do. He knows the offense. He responds every time. He makes the proper reads, and he's just, I mean, the numbers he's putting up this year are just amazing.
A defense of yours is starting to be a little ball hawkish with the turnovers. How has that helped your defense here and your overall look for the next week against Ironwood Ridge and then going into the playoffs?
Well, you know, everybody looks at how many points we put up on the scoreboard, but I'll tell you what, our defense has just been unbelievable this whole year. Even going up to Centennial, they played a great game up there. But, you know, as head coach, I've left it on the Brett Darling and the staff, and they've done a great job putting a new scheme in each week, and they really responded by shutting out a lot of teams. And a lot of the points we're seeing in our games are by our second twos and threes, and they're scoring late, but our ones have just been great all year.
Let me ask you about that Centennial game. How did that game help you guys in terms of preparation, in terms of looking toward the larger goal of making a deep run in the postseason?
Well, it was all about the physical part. We didn't know if we could physically play with a big team like Centennial, but we went up there and I thought our kids played physically well, and they were able to handle the big boys up there, so it wasn't like we were manhandled. So I think our kids got a lot of confidence playing up there because they can say, hey, we can play with these guys. We just can't make the mistakes that we made in that game.
And now a 6-game winning streak after that, and everything is trending in the right direction. What can we expect next Friday against Ironwood Ridge?
Well, you know what you're going to get against Ironwood Ridge. They're going to run the ball right at us. They're a physical football team. Not sure how they did tonight, but obviously if they won tonight, it'll be a league championship game next week. And our kids are excited. Anytime we play at home, our kids are fired up about playing football, and we know what's at stake, a top seed, a home game for the playoffs. And anytime we beat the Ironwood Ridge, that's what we want to do.
Pat Nugent, congratulations.
All right, thanks.
Jacob, to you.
All right, well, that's it here from Bobcat TV and Bobcat Broadcasting.